my laser friend. Next up is Justitia on Bina's floor. So no mass attack, but, and this is a big but right there, and I cannot lie, a 3-cost melee attack that has an insane roll, 15 to 25, very thin roll, I like it, roll range I mean, 15 to 25, on hit deal damage equal to 10% of target's max HP, it is capped at 50, 50 is pretty good, so this is just a boss raker. Honestly, first of all, 3 cost is cheap for an E.G.O page, and being able to do 50 damage like that is just like on a whim is great. You are gonna hit because 15 to 25 is just not beatable by most things in the game, and because of that, it is just free 50 damage plus roll. So you just love to see it. It's just a lot of damage, and it is probably one of the only next to fragments, I guess, non-mass attack that's gonna be in S tier for me. I like it a lot. Next up is Laetitia on house floor. So Laetitia is a very interesting card that has a unique effect. I don't think we have anything else that does that. It is a mass attack, a 5 cost. It is a 6 to 18 mass attack. I don't like that roll range, obviously. 6 is pretty low, you can easily whiff with that attack, and you don't really want to whiff because of the following effect. On hit, add a copy of Small Gift to target's hand. Small Gift is a weak combat page with 1 cost, enemies will prioritize using it over other pages in hand, exhaust on use. Very interesting effect, very good effect. You can deny the enemies so many actions because of it. You hit a lot of enemies with it, they are all forced to use a shitty page next scene that does nothing for them, which gives you time to, if you were behind, to maybe turn the tide, if you were ahead, then to just win even more. This is a pretty, I like it. Unfortunately, and this is the same problem as with Black Swan, Shimmering exists, and Shimmering completely negates that ability because it discards all their hands every scene, which means small gift is never gonna happen. Which is why I cannot possibly place you in S tier, Laetitia. You're gonna be A tier. I really like it. High A tier. Let's say high stuff actually. I cannot place it above Blind Rage. I might be able to place it above Fourth Match Flame though. Yeah, this looks better. Actually, this looks better. Next up is Lamp, right? Is it? Are you Lamp? It is Lamp. Lamp is also a pretty unique for the player, a pretty unique mechanic. It is a 3-cost mass attack, first of all, very cheap, you love to see it. It is a 7 to 14, note the resemblance with Laetitia, which was 6 to 18. But, you know, better roll range, more close, I'd say, more thin. And it says combat start enemies are not influenced by power gain or loss for the scene. So we don't have many encounters where the enemies pop off with a lot of power ups. So it's not that good, but it is good. The effect in itself is good. It's just that you cannot really. There's like what 2 fights in the game I would say where power is very important, which would be the Red Mist and E.G.O. So against these two, it's alright, but it's really, you know, it's just fancy. I would say it's just fancy. Sure, you can deny some +1 strength from some enemies. If I'm forgetting one very obvious, please feel free to yell at me in the comments. I won't mind. Still, it is a 3-cost 714, so I don't think it's too bad. It's gonna go B tier for me. Still above Harmony, I'd say, and Dead Silence. It's a mass attack. Next up is Lumber on Chesed floor. So this is a 5-cost melee attack, not mass attack. Not mass attack, but another but. It's not that big of a but this time, but it is still a decent but. 4 dice, which is pretty rare. First die is a 7-11, second is a 6-10, then 6-9, and then 6-6. The first die says, or does, last die on Clash Win, last die gain +2 power, the second does the same, the third does the same, and then the last die is inflict 3 bleed next scene. So this is, you want to clash with this because you want to win those first three clashes to give your last die plus 6 power, which then becomes a 12 to 12. At least you know what you're getting into, right? No RNG on this one. I like those roll ranges. I just like those rolls, honestly. 7, 11, 6, 10, 6, 9. You're most likely gonna win all of them, which means your last die is gonna be extremely strong. It's just like if you hit with all 3 of those first dies, as you should, probably, unless you are extremely unlucky or you clash with something that is really good. It's just a lot of damage. Sure, it's only targeting one guy, but it's you are gonna deny a big attack out of him if you clash with it, because you're most likely gonna win all 4 of those clashes. Sorry, if the enemy even has a 4th die. And yeah, I just like big damage, and I cannot lie again. So this is like what, 18, something like 30 damage, I would say. Probably more actually. Yeah, more than that. Like probably around 40 damage. That's pretty good, and a guaranteed clash win. So I think it's all right. I usually pick it actually on chessset floor because Harvest isn't that great. Faded Memory is pretty. No, it's more support than anything. False Throne is usually you usually don't need it. So that's why, because you can have up to, if you reach Emotion 5, you will have 3 E.G.O pages, and usually my top 3 on chessset is gonna. Usually what I pick on chessset 4 is gonna be Faded Memories, Homing Instinct, and Lumber. So I like it. It's gonna be B tier, above Lamp, honestly. Next up is the second synchronization. Their Fry Shoots on. Oh, it is Magic Bullet. Sorry, I thought it was the actual name of the Abno. Magic Bullet on Yesod's floor. In my opinion, and people are going to disagree with that, I know it. In my opinion, the best synchronization. Yes, above White Knight, I know. Lots of cheap mass attacks, and it's just great. Easy light restore, ranged attacks at the wazoo. It's just very strong, very solid. I just love the mass attacks, but the cheap mass attack spam. I just think there's a lot of value associated with it. You're gonna be A tier, above Laetitia. There we go, perfect. I see, missing some stuff in D tier, I'd say, but oh no, I see some stuff that's gonna be in D tier. That's fine. Okay, next up is Mimicry on Gebura's floor. Mimicry is a pretty straightforward page. It's a melee page, 5 costs, so very expensive for a melee page. On hit, recover HP equal to the damage dealt. It is a 19 to 35. That also inflicts 10 bleed on hit. Very high value, very high damage. Lifesteal, also lots of value. It is just pretty straightforward, and you're gonna go straight into. I thought it would be easy, but now that I look at everything else, I'm not too sure. I usually pick it as one of my 3 Gebura E.G.O page if I can, because lifesteal is useful. It can help you in a pinch. It's not a niche effect, right? It's just lifesteal. You love to see it, and because the damage is so high, then you're gonna regenerate a lot of HP. That's all there is to it. I think you can look like Dead Silence for the as damage roll, although yours is way better. My E.G.O page friend. I think we're gonna go right here, honestly. Low A tier. Still not a mass attack. The damage you're gonna do with Mimicry isn't that high. Overall, I mean, because obviously on that one guy that you're gonna target, yeah, it is gonna be pretty good. Next one is I don't even remember, Void. No, Nihil, sorry, on Tipfrest floor. This one is such a weird freaking one. It's a mass attack for 3, so you love to see it, first of all. 6 to 16, so pretty mediocre rolls, I'd say. If there are no pages in hand, inflict 4 Feeble, Disarm, Bind, and Paralysis to all enemies this scene and next scene. If you can activate this effect, this is an S tier page. Unfortunately, it's not easy to activate. You need a no page in hand, which is usually, I'm not even sure, like you need another page You could use another an Abno page from Tiferet Floor to empty your hand, which I think is called Magical Girls, right? Void, sorry, but it is a tier 3. Other than that, if you don't have very specific tools, you're never gonna see this effect pop off. And if you don't see the effect, then guess what? It's just a 3-cost 6-16 summation mass attack. Wait, is it summation? Or is it? It is summation in the game, but I think it is actually individual. I'm not sure. I'm gonna need confirmation on that. If it is summation, then it is going straight to D tier, because the effect is just too annoying to. Not really annoying, but it requires too much of a specific setup to activate. And obviously, if you're forced to play a certain deck, then let me put it this way: Laser doesn't require you to have a very specific deck, and it does a crap load of damage. So sure, it doesn't have the fancy 4 all debuffs to enemies, but it's still, you know, you see the value in the huge damage. So that's why I think Nihil is gonna go D tier for now. Correct me if I'm wrong on the. If it is summation, then yeah, I am content to place you in high D tier. Please, let me. There we go. No, I had it. There we go. Above big for sure, but still pretty weak. And honestly, if the other E.G.O pages on Tiferet Floor weren't that good, I would not put you in D tier. But you're just challenging extremely good E.G.O pages like Gold Rush, Laser. Sorry, dude, you're gonna stay here for a while. Next up is Our Galaxy on Nitsack's Floor. Mass attack, love to see it. 6 cost, so pretty expensive. Pretty decent roll. I mean, no, pretty average roll. Sorry, 3-8, 3-8, 3-6. Individual, all of them, obviously. On hit, recover user's HP by the unmodified roll value 3 times. This is counted for every single enemy you hit. If you roll 3 on all of these dice, but for some reason you still hit all of them, all of these enemies, let's say there are 5 enemies, you are gonna regenerate HP for 3 times 5 on each of these rolls, which is very good. This can single-handedly bring you back to full HP. A very good sustainer / regen card on a mass attack page that has alright rolls. You know, you can still work with it, especially if you have some strength stacked. Honestly, it is a very good value page. Now, the damage isn't gonna be anything fancy. The effect is only regeneration, which means if you're already winning and you don't really need the HP, then you're gonna pass up on it. Still, I think it deserves a high tier, A tier, sorry, high A tier. Like there. Alright, next up is White Knight, or Paradise Lost. The last synchronization, in my opinion, better than Red, but worse than Magic Bullet actually. It is a wild one. It is a spicy one. First of all, it is a 6 cost as opposed to the 1 cost of the other 2. It is gonna turn all of your teammates into apostles that you cannot control, and this is what ticks me off. You know, I don't like not being able to control my dudes. They don't even do that much damage. The apostles, I mean. You're the librarian that played Paradise Lost. You're gonna be able to control, and it has some alright pages, but even then it's nothing that fancy. Now, I love the aesthetic of the whole thing. It looks great. The attacks look beautiful. The apostles, you know, they have their thing going on. They look also pretty sick. So everything is and will come into play into how I rate this page. It's just, it still does feel a little underwhelming though. I actually played this card against Yan, which you should probably not do for obvious reasons. Is that the apostles are, because they are AI controlled, they are gonna try to attack Yan's counter dice, and it's not gonna work. And I lost the fight because of it. So obviously you should not do that, but still, I didn't think it would cost me the fight is the thing. I just don't like the fact that you cannot control the apostles. Sure, your dudes are gonna be invulnerable, and their HP cannot drop below 1 HP when they are apostles. Still, I think it's just lots of fancy and fluff, but not that great. I love it for the whole vibe, but other than that, yeah, it's just good and that's it. Which means probably high B tier for me, like highest B tier. It's still beautiful. Next up is another Hokma E.G.O page. It is Penitence. Penitence is a 5-cost mass attack, 8 to 16 individual. Not that great, but the effect is very nice. On use, all allies recover 15 HP and 15 stagger. So you don't even have to hit, it's just on use. It can easily help you turn the tide if you're on the losing side. Can also help you win the fight better if you're already winning. It's just the value attached to 15 HP and 15 stagger is just great. It's just very, very good. Yeah, lots of sustain attached to this, and the more you can play it in a fight, the less you're likely to lose because of just the value of regenerating 15 HP on all of your guys. So I'm gonna rate you pretty high, my friend. You're gonna be, because it's not that much damage, it's not gonna be S tier. I don't think it's a no-brainer for me. There is a no-brainer on Hokma's floor that has yet to show up, but it's pretty obvious because it's the last one. It is Son of a Star, but you're gonna be a high A tier because, you know, sure it does help you stay alive, but when you're just crushing the enemies and you just want to make it faster, it's not gonna help you that much. So not a no-brainer to me, which means not S tier. Next up is Pleasure on Netsack's floor, and look at that, another D tier. Pleasure is a melee attack, 4-cost, 2 dice, the first one being 5 to 15. Absolutely terrible! 5 to 15 for a 4-cost is garbage, honestly. I'm sorry, Pleasure, but it's bad. Now sure, you get power equal to target's emotion level, so up to 5, which, let's say you played against an enemy with emotion 5. First of all, this is not gonna happen very often, unless it's a boss, and even then, recently I killed Yan before he could even reach emotion 3, I think, or I think he did reach 3, but let's say optimal conditions and everything, you fight a guy, he's at emotion 5, you use that, you gain plus 5 power, which turns this into a 10 to 20. It's still bad. It's still a bad roll for 4-cost. It only hits one guy. Okay, so let's move on to the second die. It's a 2-5, so it's just a joke. Does nothing. This die is rolled 3 times. Still no damage, honestly. On hit, inflict 3 bleed next scene, which means if you hit with all of them, you're gonna inflict 9 bleed. We know that bleed isn't that great. So I was told that the second die was meant to be used with Netsack's Amno pages because they usually trigger on Pierce dice, and this is a Pierce die. So if you hit 3 times, you're gonna proc 3 times. I don't even know. What do you even trigger 3 times? Tentacles? Tentacles is good, not gonna lie. What else? Thorns, but Thorns is never picked. Oh yeah, Autumn's Passing. I mean, it's just, you know, it's very specific. Low rolls, no, pretty much no damage. It is deserving a D tier in my opinion, and like the lowest D tier. Yeah. Next up is Red Eyes on Hot's floor. So Red Eyes, you know, it's for some reason it is a page I do like, even though it's not that great. It is a 4-cost, and I can't really like trash talk Pleasure for having a bad first die and then praise Red Eyes. You know, the first die is a 9 to 25, so it's not that great, I gotta admit. It does on the other hand have a very good effect attached to it. On hit, inflict 3 bind, 3 feeble, 3 disarm next scene. This pretty much cripples an enemy to the point where it's gonna be maybe not useless, but not a threat, pretty much, next scene. It's very good against bosses, is what I'm trying to say. Especially purple tier, E.G.O, Red Mist. Just a very good effect attached to it. And then you have a second 5/8 blunt dice for some reason unknown to mankind, but it is there. Still, you only play that for the effect, the 3 bind, 3 feeble, 3 disarm. Unfortunately for Mr. Red Eyes, you are also competing with stuff like Laetitia and Black Swan. So I still like you, and I'm gonna put you in like low beat here. I still think also it looks great. I love how the aesthetic of the whole thing, yeah, the attack animation. Next up is a Regret on your Sod's floor, a melee attack that costs 5, which is indeed pretty expensive. But, that is a big but, this page is just the boss crusher. 3 dice, 6, 8, 6, 8, 9, 19. 919 being pretty impressive. The first die is on hit, deal stagger damage equal to 10% of the target's current stagger resist. Second hit is the same. Third hit is deal stagger damage equal to 50% of the target's current stagger resist. So on you know, small enemies, you might be able to stagger them in one go. But on bosses, you gain so much value out of that. I think on E.G.O you can do more than 200 stagger damage with that. Yeah, easily. Which is, you know, insanely good. So Regret is probably going to be the only non-mass attack to be as with Justitia. I mean, and fragments from somewhere, but you know, this is only what is needed for non-mass attacks to be highly ranked. They need to be they need to have good effects associated with them. All right, I thought I had you in repeat, my guy. So there we go. It is just too much damage, too much stagger damage to pass up on. I usually when I see Regret, I click, which you know what this means. This means S tier. Next up is Sanguine Desire on Hot's floor. Sanguine Desire is a melee attack, 5 cost. Combat. So this is very interesting. This is very unique. Combat start. Enemies do not lose bleed stacks after rolling offensive dice for this sin. Most of the time, actually 99% of the time, this is not gonna do that much for you. It's gonna be sometimes you're gonna, if you have a very dedicated bleed floor, which can work on Hot's floor, or builds or decks, then yeah, it can come in handy. It's very good. It is gonna help you tremendously against Greta, though. That's for sure. It is gonna be a must pick, I would say. So 3 dice, 410, 39, 46. So 410 is alright, even though again it is a melee attack. You still might lose that. 39 is yeah, it's pretty bad for the 5 cost. And then 46 is absolutely terrible, but it does gain power by 2 times the target's bleed. Now this is so it seems fancy, and it is, and I believe if you actually go the extra mile and have like 5 dedicated bleed decks on this floor and you pick Sanguine Desire, you will see some beautiful numbers on this last die. You can easily get it up to more than 100, which is insane amounts of damage, but again it does require you to apply lots of bleed, and of course the bleed to be here previously, so you have to set up the scene before. Other than that, you know, I think it's mostly a fancy page with the sole purpose of memeing that third die. It is hilarious. I like it, but you are a high seat here. That's all I'm saying, because of the specific condition for it to be good. Next up is Smile on Gebura's floor. Smile is an interesting mass attack, a good mass attack. It's a 4 cost mass attack. Individual 7 to 14, so you're most likely gonna win that. It is fine. You can lose that still, but it is nothing to sneeze at. But the real thing the real reason why you wanna pick and use Smile is for the effect. On hit, inflict 2 feeble and disarm this sin. And this scene is pretty important here. You're gonna cripple a whole team of enemy. Yeah, for the whole scene. 2 feeble and 2 disarm, because the player has access to so many freaking power-ups with strength and with, you know, any like fervor and any good gold key page. Adding that to the enemy losing 2 strength and 2 endurance, or getting 2 feeble and 2 disarm, is just, honestly, is gonna make that one scene a joke. You're gonna win every clash, you're just gonna crush them. It is an extremely high value mass attack, in my opinion. It is pretty much red eyes, but as a mass attack. So you are an A tier for me. Maybe not below. You know what? Yeah, above Penitence. I'm gonna do something like this with Penitence. There we go. Next up is Solemn Lament on the South floor. It is a range page, 4 cost. Very unique page, very good as well. Solemn Lament is a 1/6 die, only 1. I mean, you know, that does on a hit deal either 3 damage or 3 stagger damage to target. The thing is that it's rolled 8 times. Each die on this page is rolled 8 times. So if you have a lot of power stacked on someone, like, I don't know, Mio with the strongest, for example, wink wink, this on an infinity die is just gonna have at least +5 power, which means then this suddenly becomes a 6/11 rolled 8 times. This is just insane damage on an enemy, on one enemy. Against bosses, this just shreds bosses. And any enemy, really, just not bosses. It's just that, obviously you get more value on a boss because there's only one enemy. But the cherry on the cake being freaking what is it? Is it cherry on the cake or icing on the cake? I don't freaking remember. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that the deal either 3 damage or 3 stagger damage to target 8 times. So at least 24 of something. If you hit everything, and I'm assuming you are gonna hit everything, plus the rolls, which are gonna be at the very least, I don't know, like 40, I'd say. Just insane value for 4 costs as a range page. It's gonna go before after mass attacks, but before melee attacks. Yeah, this is just you go here, dude. S tier, above fragments from somewhere. Next up is Sound of a Star, or I can already tell you this is S tier. But let's go over the effect. It is a mass attack, 6 cost, pretty expensive though. Summation with 25 to 35 already. Like, the base roll is already just onga bonga, very good damage. But it also has an added effect, and it is nothing to sneeze at. If user stagger resist is above 50%, deal 10 damage and stagger damage to everyone on a mass attack that you're most likely gonna hit with. On 5 against 5 enemies, this is just so much damage and stagger damage, just like that. It is an extremely good E.G.O page. This just pretty much puts an end to a fight because of this, and it was nerfed. Keep in mind, this was nerfed. Yeah, this is, you know what? Go above all this. Go above this. Yeah, you go above everything else. So why above Apocalypse? Well, Apocalypse requires you to be at 50% or lower HP. This is just you pick, you click, enemy's dead. All there is to it. Thank you, Sound of a Star. And the effect is you know, you love the sound, we love the effect, we love our friend Blue Star. I think this might be, yeah, it's just gonna be the highest ranked E.G.O page in my opinion. I think I don't see anyone here that can topple Sound of a Star. Anyway, next is the Forgotten on Malkuth's floor. It's a 3 cost melee attack. 12 to 15, only 1 die. 12 to 15 being, you know, for a 3 cost, above average, I would say, for normal pages. So for E.G.O page, it's a little below average. But the effect is, on Clash Win, destroy all of target's dice. Now, this can seem not that great, you know, you're like, sure, you play it against a page that has 3 dice, and yeah, it does destroy everything, why not? The hidden good thing about this is that if you one-side this attack against an enemy that has a lot of counters, E.G.O, for example, it's gonna destroy every single counter in the chain, and it's gonna help you a lot. It's gonna save you a lot of trouble. So the effect can be used to great success, and just for that one reason, this has to be at least B tier. It is, you know, it's just when you look at it like that, it's just, yeah, destroy all targets die, not much damage done, but you might save you from a Flaming Dragon Fist or something nasty like that. But because of the counter interaction, this has to be high tier for me. At least like high B tier, probably the highest B tier. Next up is the Homing Instinct on Chesette's floor. First of all, one of the best animation in the game. Just drop a house on their head. Already, because of that, you're gonna be high on this list. 5 cost mass attack, pretty expensive. Individual 8 to 18, which you know that there's gonna be a good effect. Otherwise, the roll will be pretty bad. And yeah, it does have a good effect. If the attack hit at least once, all other allies restore 2 light at the end of this scene. This is just, again, I know I keep saying that word, but this is insane value. So many light regen for the whole team except the one that plays it. 2 light for all of your friends. Let's say they all need light. Okay, they're all missing. They're all missing 2 light. This is like an 8 light regen. So it is pretty good. Like spread to your whole team, obviously. Yeah, very good value. Mass attack, alright damage. Pretty much guaranteed to hit at least once, and that's the only thing you want for the effect to trigger. So yeah, you are gonna be in A tier, probably above Magic Bullet, but not above Penitence. Next up is the Sword Sharpened with Tears. Yep, Sharpened with Tears. It is a ranged attack that was buffed at some point. Honestly, it is, again, forecast range 610, 10, 18, 2 dice. On hit, see the speed die of target for the next scene. And then see the speed die of target for the next scene, same on the second die. Sorry, I thought the wording was different for some reason. No, it is the same. Extreme value. Like good damage. First of all, you're not gonna lose those 2 clashes. 610. I mean, 610 you might lose, but it is range, so you can easily choose your clash, or if you want to make it one-sided, and you probably want to make it one-sided to be sure that those effects trigger. So 4 cost and you seal 2 speed dice. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty freaking good. And the second die is a 10 to 18, so that's a lot of damage associated with it as well. Very good to cripple bosses because of, again, 2 seals. It is great. It is A tier for sure. Probably not above mass attacks, but above Hornet for sure. Actually, let's put that above our Galaxy, because again, our Galaxy you need to have lost HP for it to be that good or that much better. Otherwise, the damage is you know, it's something, but it's not it's not impressive. This is all you're always gonna get use of from the Sword Sharpened with Tears because of the 2 sealed speed dice, especially against bosses. Next up is Thirst on Gibora's floor. I actually don't pick Thirst that much. It is a mass attack, 5 cost mass attack. Summation 17 to 28. Pretty good roll, you know. I'm not gonna deny that. The effect is also on hit recover 5 HP, so I'm assuming if you hit 5 guys you recover 25 HP. Gain 1 strength next scene, target receives 1 strength and 5 bleed next scene. So sure, you give your target 1 strength, honestly big deal, you know, it's not gonna change the outcome of battle, especially from what you get, which is most likely 5 strength. If it doesn't interact like that, like you don't get 1 strength per target, feel free to correct me. This is how I see it. It's been a while since I've used Thirst, so I'm not sure. And then they also receive 5 bleed, which is still 5 bleed. Again, bleed isn't that great, but it does damage. And the base damage, 17 to 28, is just good. Just the sheer raw power of this mass attack is already enough for me to place it in above B, probably. Yeah, above B is pretty good. Now 17 to 28, huh? You are 12 to 40. You're gonna be here, honestly. Above 4th Match Flame. Actually, yeah, above, because of the effect. Next up is today's expression on Hot's floor. Today's expression is just weird. It's a 3 cost, so okay. The first die is a block die, 18 to 30, which is gonna do a lot of stagger damage on the deflect, and you are gonna deflect with this, trust me. 18 to 30 is just unbeatable. Second die is a 6-9, nice, deal plus 10 damage against staggered enemies. Okay, so what they want you to do with this is stagger someone with the first die on the deflect, and then have plus 10 damage. But even plus 10 damage isn't that great, is the thing. And on a non-staggered enemy, 6-9 is bad. It's just, it might lose clash, it might even if it does and you don't get that much damage, 6 to 9. And then you have a 5-10 counter block die, which is fancy, which is, you know, it looks good and everything, but it's not gonna save you or anything. I mean, it might save you, sure, but I don't know. I just don't think it's... I've picked it multiple times, and the first leading block die is actually pretty good at mitigating damage, or outright negating damage against powerful pages with 1 die, but other than that, you know, you with E.G.O pages, you want to kill your enemies faster. So, and I don't think today's expression is doing that very well. You're just gonna go C tier. Below Grinder? Yeah, below Grinder. Next up is, where are you, Twilight? You are Twilight. Twilight is a mass attack, 5 cost, 2 dice, individual, 6, 8, 5, 12, both dice do the same thing, inflict 1 paralysis next scene. So Project Moon is a little afraid of paralysis, and I think they are right to be afraid, because it is a very, very good debuff. 6-8, the first die might lose, is the thing. And it is expensive for having a dice, for having one of the die lose to something, which is why I'm not a fan of Twilight too much. Still, because you can, sorry, you can choose your which die you target, then you might be able to make it so the 6-8 wins, and then you inflict 2 paralysis on every single enemy. 2 paralysis is very, very good. Again, very good value, very good debuff. Second die is 5-12, so it has much better chance of landing a hit. Still, overall, I think it's a little lacking, you know? The damage isn't that high, the effects are just... Sure, I said paralysis was good, but it's just that, it's just one little stack of paralysis. Not that great against bosses, obviously. Yeah, I don't like it that much. I'm gonna go C tier, because you're still a mass attack, and paralysis is still alright. Probably the highest C tier. Below Red Eyes, though? Yeah, that's why I'm gonna go over everything at the end. Wingbeat as our last E.G.O page. Now, people are gonna disagree with me, I know that. Wingbeat is a melee attack, a 4 cost. First die is 3-8, so that's garbage, obviously. On hit, recover 3 HP, recycle this die unless it rolls the minimum value up to 5 times. And then the second die of 6-8 for some reason, but the first die is the important one, right? It is the one that's gonna save or break you. I have extreme... How do I say that? Extremely bad experience with Wingbeat. And I say this like it doesn't even recycle once. Because it does say recover 3 HP, recycle this die unless it rolls the minimum value. Which means if you roll a 3 right off the bat, it's never gonna recycle. and then it does nothing. I mean, it's gonna recover 3 HP if you hit. If you don't reroll. And I tried. Okay, I tried to make it work multiple times. I can see myself saying, okay, Wingbeat, I'm gonna give you one more chance, and then it doesn't recycle again. Then I do it again, and it recycled once or some crap. But if I can see the value if you're lucky. You can pretty much go back to full HP if you associate it with Gluttony on Valkyrie's floor, which you probably want to do. But because of the RNG element, like here's the thing: if you recycle 0 times, if it just rolls 3 and then 6 to 8, it's garbage for a forecast. It's just bad. It's basically a 3 something, a 3 and then a 6 or a 7, 8. I hate you, Wingbeat. I just hate you. There you go. Go into your D tier. Now this is probably gonna maybe spark a little bit of controversy but this is my, you know, it is fitting that it is the last one because I hate it so much. So Wingbeat, welcome to D tier. I'm not gonna change Wingbeat. So there we are. I'm gonna take a quick look at what we have here. If something suddenly sparks something in my head and I'm like, oh, this should not be here. Then let me take a quick look here. I think it's actually alright. I might put Red Eyes above Harmony because the effect is way more consistent. Like the 3D, and actually maybe above Dead Silence as well. That looks better. Now S tier looks beautiful. It is very close between the Capo and Sound of a Star. The thing with Sound of a Star is that you can also use it against bosses. Sure, you might think, oh, it's a mass attack, you want to use it against multiple targets. But the damage is so good that even against bosses, it is still gonna do a number of them. Okay, Apocalypse. Faded Memories, I think you're too high. How about this? And how about this? Laser I think is better than Fragment from Somewhere, just because of the sheer damage. The raw damage. Black Swan, if Shimmering didn't exist, Black Swan would be S tier, don't get me wrong. Laetitia would probably be like the best of A tier, and Black Swan would be S tier, but alas, Shimmering does exist. Love the effects, love the ongebonginess. I'm just... There we go. Blind Rage, you go up a tier. Welcome to the big boys club. It's just too good. You're just gonna kill enemies with it. If you have Exodia, but you know, I'm not even thinking of Exodia, it's also it gets even more value. It's just too insane, too good of a page to not be here. Don't care about, who cares about your teammates? I think that's good stuff. Yeah, you know what? I think I like it. Let's go over B tier. No, Paradise Lost should be the highest on the B tier. Maybe even low A tier actually. Nah, it's fine. I don't like the fact that you cannot control the apostles. Okay, that's a seal. That's a mass attack. That should probably go here because it's a mass attack with alright damage. Okay, Gold Rush is a hit or miss. So you stay here. Lumber is fine. Lamp is fine. Red Eye is good. C tier is also alright. I hate you, Grinder. That's Crimson Scar. Okay. Twilight. You know, Twilight could be probably it's swapped with Harmony, but you get the gist of it. This is fine, I'd say. I actually thought I would have more things in D tier, but never mind. This looks good. Yeah, that's what it is. Feel free to tell me what you think of it and what your version of the tier list would look like. Other than that, that's gonna be it for me. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching the video, and I will most likely make another tier list at some point. It is probably gonna be about Abno pages or exclusive combat pages. This is something that I thought of very recently. I think that could be pretty good. Anyway, that's gonna do it. Thank you again, and I'll see you next time. See ya!